Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and I just wanted to go over some information on flywheels. And what you'll see later in the video is the stock one has rivets and they can come out and chew up your clutch disc. So if you are doing a clutch job, that's something to look at. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, I just put in the McLeod RXT, and so this one's going to come with its own flywheel. The flywheel itself is different than the Cobra's flywheel. It has provisions for studs that come up and hold everything together. The RXT being a twin disc, the clutch discs are actually smaller, and so they're brought in quite a bit, and so it is different. If you try to get McLeod's other kit, they do offer it running your stock flywheel, but then there's an adapter plate that will bolt to your stock flywheel, and so that can change some things too. But as you see, as I unstack this piece by piece, there's a lot more pieces to it, but they're smaller discs. And so that's where you're getting more of your surface area is with two discs. But anyway, I just wanted to show you a few other things about the flywheel, because you might think, okay, I already have a flywheel on my car. It's already an aluminum one. But there are some differences. So looking at the McLeod one that I purchased that came as the kit, you'll notice all the studs here. And note that this has 8 bolts for the Cobra's 8-bolt crank. Okay, so that's very important. If you're ordering a new flywheel, make sure that it's the one that's correct for the Cobra or the GT. Most GTs are going to have a 6-bolt crank unless it's the 99, 2000, and some of the mid 2001s, which also had an 8-bolt crank. Now, what you'll notice on the back are all these rivets, and that's how these flywheels are made. You'll notice it's an aluminum flywheel, and that material is not good for contacting. So basically what they've done is put a steel insert and riveted it in. So if you are keeping your stock flywheel, you might want to go have it resurfaced or turned, but I would caution, as my brother had on one of his, as you can see, these rivets, if they come out, they'll float up and they will chew up your new clutch disc. So you want to inspect all these rivets when you go to have it fixed. Now, my flywheel for my Mach 1, it was a spec one, and it has a new steel insert that you can put in, and it comes with screws instead of rivets. But that might not be the case for the Terminator. I don't think I've seen many replacement steel inserts. So you can look for them, but it would be a lot of work to drill those out. So anyway, looking at these side by side, you're also going to look and notice that, of course, they're going to be the same overall size for them both to match up, but the difference on these two flywheels is going to be the surface area. Okay, next we're going to look at something that might surprise you. When you're looking at a twin disc clutch, it's actually going to be a smaller area. So the new flywheel comes in at pretty much 51 millimeters of usable surface area, and when we move this over to the Terminator side, you're going to see where that comes in. We're actually 10 millimeters difference on where we're contacting, and so again, that surface area is being made up with the twin disc clutches, but that's something to know when you're looking at both of these flywheels and if they're interchangeable. I also get a lot of questions on this little ring. They say, is it needed? And so it sits down in here, and I would say yes, otherwise the bolts might not go into the crank all the way. So if you're using your stock Terminator one, don't lose that piece. But looking at both of these flywheels, you can see the stock one is a little taller. So all of these factors together will change the pivot ball stud length and where it needs to be if you're running the adapter ring from McLeod, if you're running McLeod's flywheel. So I check the video description. I'll also put my videos on the pivot ball stud length that shows us how to set it up so that the throwout bearing is going to be where it needs to start and not be too far in or too far out. Again, I have videos for that, and it's really important because each clutch is so different. You want to have it set up right, or when you install it, you might have issues of where it engages, how high up it engages, if you're getting full travel, everything like that. So check the video description for that. So you'll notice that the factory flywheel has dowel pins for the pressure plate to line up on, and then it has the holes for the pressure plate to bolt into. In this case, you have a bigger area here, and you have the smaller and the larger stud. So your stock flywheel will not have those provisions or that area. So here's our stock clutch disc from a Terminator. This is Vallejo is the brand that they use from Ford, but you'll see Ford and Vallejo on this. So you'll notice as we set the disc in, we're going to come in and get a measurement. And you notice as well that the material on this is an organic one, so the entire disc is all the same material with no gaps. and here we are coming in about 50 millimeters. So basically it fits onto that disc area. Now as we come in and look at our new clutch disc here, a few things stick out. One, this is a ceramic material, so you'll notice it's that lighter brown color. Okay, it sits down in here, and of course it's a smaller area, but with two discs you have more surface area. So by comparison, we're going down from 50 to about 45 millimeters in our overall width of how big these pads are. And you'll notice the pads are also smaller with gaps in between them. Now, much like the other disc, this has the material on both sides of the disc as well, just not as much of an area there that's touching. Now, something that's very important with this clutch that we're buying is we bought one that's 26 splines. So what that means is the input shaft, or this piece right here that comes from the transmission, has to have the 26 teeth on it. So we're going to be replacing this and upgrading it to a 26 spline. This one here has 10 from the factory, so you have 10 teeth basically. So now as we're looking at this, you can see the difference on the alignment tool. That's what the input shaft looks like that we just saw, and there are 10 teeth in the Terminator one. So same with the Mustang GT, the Mach 1, the T45, the TR3650. Okay, the Mustangs for this era New Edge all came with 10 spline input shafts. So here's a 26 spline one. You have more surface area where it's grabbing in 26 places instead of 10, and it's usually a stronger shaft too. And so that's really important when you're getting this clutch. So again, make sure you're getting the right flywheel for your application. The 8-bolt cranks would be on the SVT Cobras. The Mach 1s that were the 5-speed cars, the autos had a 6-bolt crank. The 99 through 2001 and a half GTs with Windsor engines would have 8-bolt, but I don't know if it's the same pattern. So please check the video description. I'll put all the other videos that I've made that are similar to this. If you watch them all, you'll be real familiar with the whole process with changing the input shaft if you're going to go to a 26 spline shaft, or if you're going to run the RXT, and everything that I've been through I have documented pretty well. So check the video description for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.